All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's good to be with you. Hopefully you can hear me okay. My voice is a little scratchy. It was much worse yesterday. I was part of the VBS this week, and I was in the final battle of the two knights fighting, and I was screaming too much, and my voice is literally, I'm not sick or anything, it's literally just, I damaged my vocal cords. It was that epic of a fight. We loved it so much. So I'm a little gravelly today, but hopefully you can follow along okay. It won't be too distracting. I want to start this morning with just reading our scripture, and we're going to read it all together. And this is called the Shema. The Israelites would say this. The Jewish folks would say this together, and so we're gonna actually read it out loud together this morning. Let's do it. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. So that's the scripture we're going to be reading together this morning. And I'm actually going to have you guys be reading it out loud a few more times throughout the service. And I think that's kind of a neat thing. That's something that the Jewish faith practice together. But Jesus talked about this passage a little bit later, and he reinforced the importance of it because it really is a summary of all the law and the prophets. I'm going to start us off this game in the spirit of summary with a game. And so I need my two volunteers. I called up Jeannie Eaton and Jim Mandeville. Would you two come up here, and they're gonna start us off with a little game about summarizing things, and hopefully you guys can follow along with this as well. So what's going to happen? You know what, Michael, could you grab me a microphone for Jeannie? Sorry, I forgot to grab one ahead of time. But yeah, you guys come right up front and center so they can get on the camera too. We don't want to, have the folks online miss you. What's going to happen here is I'm going to give Jeannie a card, and she's going to try to describe the story that I've written down here without using any names of the people or any proper nouns, right? She can't describe. You want to check that, make sure it works? Okay. She's going to try to describe the story, and then Jim gets the great privilege of trying to guess what the story is. Okay, he's gone. No, come on now, Jim. You'll be great. So I'll give you a card. If he gets it, then we just move to the next one. I only got 5 of them, so it shouldn't take too long unless it's hard. I don't know. We'll figure out what happens here. So you guys ready for this? Okay, Jim, you ready for this? Sure. Jeannie, you're on. All right, here we go. Round 1. No names, right? No names of things.
Okay, this particular disobedient person was thrown into the sea and swallowed by a giant fish.
Jonah. 1 point for Jim. Give him a hand. Yeah. Jonah, he got the story of Jonah. Well, and Jeannie, because you described well. So here we go. This is not a Bible story.
Oh, boy.
Do you know this one?
Yeah. I hope so. Okay, so this is a super corny story. The guy says, "as you wish," all the time, which means I love you.
Any of you get guesses out there? No? Still? What else happened in the story?
One of my favorite parts is the wise guy. He says, "inconceivable," all the time.
It's a movie.
Yeah.
Are you? Any guesses out there? You guys, you want to phone a friend? Shout it out! Princess Bride. Okay, sorry. That is not a big movie in your house. Hey, no worries, man. Well, good. We got more movies coming for you, just for you. It's for you. Sorry about that.
Ooh, this is one of my favorites. Okay, so there's a ring, and there's a ring.
A ring?
One ring to rule them all.
Lord of the Rings.
Hey, good job. Lord of the Rings, right? You guys got that one. There was some help in the cloud. There we go. All right, next one. So we've got 2 more left.
Okay.
Bible story.
Yep. So this man goes blind while he's walking. Am I the right one?
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
You got it. Paul on the road to Damascus. All right, good job. And last one, a movie, again, just to stump Jim here. We'll see if we can get it. Describe what happened.
Old movie.
Well, it's relatively old.
Okay, so a really pretty girl lives in this provincial town and finds her way to a castle where a scary, I can't say that word.
No, I can't say that word.
A scary being lives.
Rapunzel?
No,
Ooh, we're getting
close.
Yeah, it's that genre.
My favorite part of that is he has a giant library. No,
She finds a giant library.
giant library. It's the best part.
Giant library.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, so there's talking teacups and candles and.
Beast.
And the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
There it is. All right, give him a hand, guys. All right, both of you guys did really good. You're off. Thank you so much. That was great. So that's a little fun way to start our talk this morning. So summaries are helpful for us. It's kind of fun to hear them try to summarize a story, a brief story of what's going on. And boy, we like summaries in a lot of different areas of our life. They help quickly get to the essentials, right? You can boil it down. All right, this is what happened in Beauty and the Beast. A beast and a thing and a library, apparently. That was kind of cool, right? The basics of what happened in that story, and that's what we need to know, right? And so Jesus was confronted one time, and he said, "Hey, what's the summary of all the law and the prophets, the Old Testament, right?" And he said it. We just read it together on the screen, right? It's to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. And that's what we're going to be looking at this morning. It's the essentials. It's the boiled down basics of what is going on. And so that's what we're trying to understand this morning. Jesus summed it all up by saying, love the Lord your God. So we're going to actually say that one more time. We'll get that up there on the screen. Say it a little more confidence this time. Read it with me. Here we go. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your mind and with all your soul and with all your strength. Now, the order of those words is a little off this morning. I wrote the message and then I reorganized a little bit. I just want to make sure I'm telling you that up front. It is the same content, it's the same from the Bible, and it's important. So, hear, O Israel, they call this the Shema, this thing that we say together, that the Israelites, the Jewish people would say together. They call it the Shema. And what Shema is just the first word of the sentence, and it is hear. Shema is the Hebrew word for hear. And it's not just hear. It's not just like, hey, I heard it. When he says, hear, O Israel, he's saying it's more like the word listen, right? Husbands, you know the difference between hearing and listening, right? We've been married long enough to know, I heard you, but I wasn't listening. Right? They're two separate practices. You need to hear and listen, right? And that's what this word takes it beyond just, oh yeah, you should hear what God says, right? He's saying, no, listen, like it's an activity. We need to listen to what God's saying. But it actually, the word, if you study this all through the Old Testament, where that word's used, it actually goes a little deeper than that. It's not just hear, it's not just listen. It's more like when a parent would say to their child, you need to listen to your mom and go right now and do what she's saying, right? When your dad or your mom says, listen to what your mom's saying, they're not asking you to just stay seated on the couch, are they? When they say that tone, they're like, listen to your mom right now. That means get up and go, right? Like you're sitting on the couch, it's time to go, right? It's a word of action. It's actually full of action. It's like every time he says Shema, it's like get up and go, baby. It's time. Like we got things to do. And he tells us what those things to do are later, right? Love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul. But I just want to explain that first word. That's an important word. Hear. Listen. It's time to go, people. We got things to do and places to see because God has a big, important mission for us. So hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. We could spend a whole nother sermon just on that phrase right there, the oneness of God, the unity of God, the Trinity of God. He's one God. He's complete. And hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. But we're gonna jump in today and talk about the four different areas that Jesus confirms in us in the Shema, that we need to love God with our heart, our mind, our soul, and our strength. And that's what we'll be tackling today. So first one is the heart. What does it mean to love God with all of our heart? And it's interesting because in the Jewish tradition, the heart, in Western culture, we love God with our heart, right? Where we love things with our heart. We always have hearts. We have hearts everywhere, right? The heart shape all over. We use it for describing things that we love. And it's kind of interesting if you think about the heart shape. Where did that come from? Have you ever seen a real heart? Then you think of and you're like, who drew that, right? That's not even close to what a heart looks, right? It's actually a ball of, ugly looking organ in real life, but we've kind of made this like cute little, this heart-shaped thing. But that's where, in Western culture, that's where our emotions come from. We say, I love something with my heart, or I feel something in my heart, like I know it in my heart, right? But in the Jewish tradition, that word in there actually means your guts, your intestines, like your lower, like I feel something down here. And so if we were to translate this literally, it would say, love the Lord your God with your intestines. Like, love the Lord your God with your guts, right? Which gets lost, right? You come in here and you're like, well, that's weird. Why would you do that, right? But in their culture, that's where you felt your deep, powerful emotions. And honestly, I think it's probably more accurate than our hearts, right? We think, we describe our heart as where we feel things. But think about it. Where have we felt our deepest emotions? You think, oh man, you first fall in love and you know it's the right person. What do we say? You got butterflies in your stomach, right? You feel it there when they walk in the room and you see them and you just get all giddy, and it's there. It's not your heart. It's your gut. It's that feeling that you get. What about, you guys have been in these places in life before, when you get that phone call, man, your brother died suddenly. And people describe it, it's like I got punched in the gut. Man, you get that bad news, you get that cancer call, you get that, and it's just like, oh, where do we feel it? We feel in our guts. That's where our deepest, most intimate feelings are. And so I think the Israelites actually had it better than our heart, right? We use our heart. Man, that's where we feel our deep, intimate, hard, heavy, powerful, exciting. It's down there, right? It's in our guts. And that's where we feel the strongest. So, if we're supposed to love the Lord with our guts, with our deep, powerful emotions, what does that look like for us? And if we say we love God, but we're missing that deep, emotional gut feeling, then we're missing out on the best that God has for us. Because see, that's what this whole thing's about. What is the summary for? It's for us to love God, but it's also for us to be able to have the best life, because we need God. And so if we want to have the true love that God has for us in our life, we need to feel God working at that deep emotional level. And some of us in here, it's been a while since we've felt God at that deep level. I encourage you this week, there's going to be a time where you're walking around, you're doing your life. You walk outside and you see that sunrise, or you see those trees, and you're going to feel something down here. And God's going to go, hey, I'm here, I'm with you. Man, love the Lord your God with your guts, with the deep emotional feelings. If we're not loving God in that deep emotional level, we're missing out on what God has for us. Some of us, we get so intellectual about God's love, right? It's thought, oh yeah, I love God, check that box. Right? And it's important. We're going to talk about our mind in a little bit. It is important to love God with our thoughts and our mind. But if we're missing that when it comes to God, then we're missing out on what he has for us. We need to feel God in our guts. We need to love God with our intestines this week. Can you do that? Awesome. Love God with your... I know, it's a goofy saying. Awesome. So we want to make sure we're loving God with all of our guts. We're going to say the Shema together one more time. Let's read it out loud. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Are we getting it stuck in our head now? I don't want you guys to forget this week. This is important stuff. We got to love God in the way he's taught us to love him. Second one is this: your thinking, your mind, your thought processes. How do we love God with our mind, with our thinking, and with our thought processes? You know what's interesting is all of us have a different thought process. We all have a different way of thinking. We think differently. I set a bag up here and it is gone. Does anybody know where my bag of confetti went? Well, that's not good. Somebody was super efficient and cleaned up the stage for me after the last 20 minutes. If you can find my bag of confetti, that would be great. I put it up here about 15 minutes ago and now it's gone. Anyways, that was going to be my illustration. We each have a different thought process, a way of viewing things. Does anybody see it in there? Summer's looking. Hopefully it turns up soon. We each have a different thought process, a way of thinking that helps us see the world. I'll move on here. So each of us has, it's almost like a pair of glasses. These glasses are kind of dirty, but we all have been gifted a unique way of looking at the world. So, and every one of us is a little bit different. We have an opportunity to see how things work. The problem with our thought processes is that we can be biased towards ourself in our own way of thinking. Once we put our way of thinking on, it helps us to see the world. I'm going to have to just try to do my confetti illustration without confetti. That's kind of a bummer that it disappeared on me. But imagine, do you see some confetti back there? No, I don't see you pointing at me here. Okay, I'm just going to make up something else. Here we go. This is going to work. All right, imagine for a second that this was a thing that happened. This will be my confetti. This is a thing that happened, right? I'm going to take this, I'm going to throw it up in the air. All right, so all of us just saw this, right? This happened. Some of us have different reactions to what happened here. Some of us look out here and you see a big mess. Is anybody in here that's like, that's a big mess that we got to clean up, right? Some of you, when confetti goes in the air, or this went up in the air, you see a party. How many of you guys are those kind of people? You're like, yeah, party, confetti, yes, thank you guys, it's awesome. Parties are fun. Some of you want to know what's written on these things. Anybody out there, like you want to figure out what's going on, you want to see what's going on. Some of you would like to organize them and put them all in a row, whatever. We all have different ways of viewing something that happened, right? Sometimes we're party animals, sometimes we're mess, and we deal with it that way, right? It stresses us out, all different kinds of things. We like to create order. That's all good, and it's God-given. That way of viewing the world, that way of viewing things is a God-given gift. It's again, like the glasses that we put on. When we see this problem, we slip the glasses on, and we go, wow, this is how God's wired me to deal with this thing that just happened, right? Some of us slip the glasses on, go into party mode, get the DJ music out. Some of us slip the glasses on and go, we got a lot of work to do. We got some stuff to clean up, right? It's God-given, our thought process, and it's good. The problem is when we put our glasses on and we think that it's the most important or the only way of viewing the world. We get very biased in our way of seeing things, and we end up missing out on what's important. And this is what's interesting when we're looking at this. We're looking at whatever problem is, and we have our glasses on. What the basics of what prayer is actually taking a moment, pausing, and pulling your glasses off, and going, God, what would you do about this mess? Right? And then we put our glasses back on and we try to solve it. But the prayer is essentially stopping our frame of thinking, the way we're used to seeing the world, and pausing and going, all right, what do you see, God? What do you think about this mess? And then we go back, and a lot of times, I don't know about you, but when I pull my glasses off and ask, I realize, oh man, I've been trying to fix this thing, and I've been actually making it worse. I've been out there just struggling and striving and trying to solve the problems in my life with my lens. And then when I pull my lens off and go, okay, God, I need help. He shows up and he's like, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. That's what I'm missing. And we miss the opportunity to see what God is seeing. We get too egotistical. We get too all-centered about our view rather than what God's do. If we say we love God, but he's not part of our thought process, the way we see the world, we're missing out on the best that he has for us now. Some of you love God with your emotions. When you come to church and you're excited and you feel good, but then you go home and you live a life that has nothing to do with God in your thinking. The way you see the world has God not even equated in it. And God wants to be part of the way you think. And it's best for you when you do that, when you include him in your thought processes. Even if it's kind of messy, right? Even if the challenges are messy, God wants you to be part of the mess. All right, thanks for flexing with me on that one. Let's go to reading the Shema one more time. You guys ready? Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. So good. Awesome. All right, we're going to go on to soul now. What is soul? So we need to love God with our soul, with our eternal soul. You don't realize there's a part of each one of us that God has designed to live forever. I don't know about you, but I know there's a part of me that's not designed to live forever, and that's my body. I was up on a roof this weekend, putting a roof on my house, and me and my dad up there. And gosh, golly, after about 2 hours, I was like, I'm so glad I'm not a roofer. That's hard work up there, hauling shingles and moving stuff. You guys, how many of you guys have done roofs before? It's a lot of work, isn't it? And yet we know that our bodies are temporary, but there is a part of you and me that's the deepest soul level part that God has designed to live for eternity. It's our soul. And sometimes we live as if this is all there is. We live our life from the day to day, the here and now, what's most important right now, and we forget that we are eternal beings inside that have a long lifespan ahead of us. It goes way beyond. It starts to help us think differently. So how do we love God with our eternal soul? What does that look like to love God with our eternal soul? And that's it, to think long term. Don't think about just the day to day, but think long term. One of my favorite songs talks about this. You guys have heard about this, Amazing Grace. And you think about, I want us to pause here a second and think about all the things in your life right now. Let's say in your home. You're in your home. If you're a young kid, maybe your bedroom, right? If you're younger in here, think about your bedroom. Picture it right in your mind's eye, all the stuff you own. Maybe it's your clothes, your toys, maybe adults, your vehicles. How many of those things will you still own 10 years from now? What percentage? Maybe 50%? Vehicles, 10 years, that's a long time, right? We hope they last 10 years because they're expensive now. Good Lordy. But things wear out, don't they? I mean, your furniture, you're still going to have it for 10 years. Your carpet, your cabinets, I've seen some of your carpet. It's, those 50-year-old shag carpets, right? Some of you still got them in your basement. I know you, right? But most things, they don't last 10 years, right? Most of the stuff in your life, your food and your cabinet, that's all gone, right? It's all going to be gone in 10 years. You won't own it anymore. How about 50 years from now? What percentage of the things that you have now will you still own in 50 years? Right? Some of you, half of us in the room, probably won't be around 50 years from now. The answer is easy. 0, right? I nothing. 50 years from now, I will have none of this stuff in my house. None of it's going to matter. I won't own any of it. It's all gone. Somebody else is going to have it. Right? 100 years, that should cover everybody, right? 100 years from now, everybody sitting in this room is going to own nothing. Right? So we get this perspective and we think, man, I've been working hard and striving for this stuff. It's gone, man. It's going away. It's not eternal. It's temporary. So when we think about loving God with our eternal soul, we need to think long term. What's the stuff that's going to last? And that conversation with your 5-year-old about God, about character, that's going to last. Sharing Jesus with people. What's for eternity? Again, my favorite lyrics from the song Amazing Grace. You know it. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Great lyrics, right? What's the last verse? One of my favorite ones. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing his praise, key verse here, than when it first begun. When did it first begin? The day you died and went to heaven? No. When does it begin? For believers in Christ, that's when we take that moment where we surrender our soul to Jesus Christ. We give it over to him. It's like, man, our eternal soul in its current state, in its pre-Christ state, is dead. It's dried up. It's nothing. And when we give our soul to Jesus Christ and we surrender to him, he brings new life into us. He infuses our soul with life everlasting, and we can live with him for eternity. That happens. There's a moment when that happens for each one of us. Some of you in this room have never done that. You're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never had Christ come in my soul and renew me. And so I'm eternal being, and I feel that joy in your gut and to see the world differently. My soul is now an eternal soul. When we feel that for the first time, we know that God has changed our eternal soul. That's when it begins. 10,000 years from now, where are you going to be? You going to be praising the Lord? I hope so. Surrender your soul to him this week. Some of you have been putting it off. You need to do it right now. Right now. Jesus, here, I'm yours. Don't wait. Don't miss it. Don't wait too long. Time goes quick. Live for eternity. Love God with your soul. Hey, let's do the Shema one more time. All together, read it out loud, nice and strong. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your mind and with all your soul and with all your strength. Are you getting it? I hope it's sinking in. One more. We got 10 minutes left. My gosh, you guys got to listen faster. We're taking too long here. All right. Last one is strength. Strength. How do we love God with our strength? What does that look like, right? Our bodies, our muscles, our willpower, the abilities we have. I don't know about you, but sometimes it's easy to look at other people and think, man, if I had that skill set, if I had that ability, if I had that popularity, if I had that strength, I could do some pretty cool things to help other people. I could make a difference if I had that. Gosh, and it's a dangerous path to be on, because when God says love your Lord with all your strength, he doesn't mean that you need to be the most strong person or the most powerful or the most motivated person. It means all of the strength that you have, whatever you got. That's what God can use, right? It's just like the 5 loaves and the 2 fish. God can, that's what you got? Cool, as long as it's all of it. I can use that. I can do amazing things. There's a lady that I used to listen to when I was a kid, and I believe she's still alive today. Her name is Johnny Erickson Tata. Have any of you guys ever heard of her? Paralyzed from the neck down. wanted to serve God, wanted to do big things for God in her life, and she was in an accident, diving accident, broke her neck, and God spared her life, but she couldn't move. The only thing she could move is her neck, lips. She could talk. That was it. And she, over the course of her life, used her muscles, her few muscles she had, to paint, right? And she started to paint with her mouth, hold it, paintbrush, paint these pictures, and then pretty soon she started to do a talk radio show where she shared the gospel. She talked about the Bible, and thousands of people have come to know Christ because of her influence. Thousands of people have been encouraged in their marriages. Thousands of people have been encouraged to stay true to life even when it gets hard because of her influence. So what's your excuse? You got to be paralyzed from the neck down in order to start doing big things for God? I hope not, right? What's my excuse? Man, God's given me breath in my lungs. I'm alive. I'm up. You're sitting here, aren't you? You're watching from home, aren't you? You're able to take the next breath. God's given you strength. He wants you to love him with all of it. Whatever you got, that's what he wants you to love him with. What an amazing story of her and her faith on that journey. Another one that just really inspires me. A lot of you guys probably don't know this, and I don't like to share these things because I want to be the kind of church that just helps people without telling you about it. But this story just fits so well, I wanted to tell. We have a group of men here in this church that meet on Tuesday mornings, and they have been doing some amazing things to help serve some of the single moms in our community and people in need. And there's this one guy in that group who just does an amazing job helping. And one of the projects we did this year was rebuilding a deck, tearing all the decking off, rebuilding it on. And one of the guys, 80 years old, won't tell you his name, but his initials are Jim Stevenson. He's an incredible guy. And he's 80 years old, and he's out there hauling lumber and putting decks on, and he's got his impact driver, and he's got his sawzall, and he's working hard, serving God with his strength. Was he the strongest guy in the crew? No. But he's out there doing it. He's out there serving and loving people. What a testimony. What do I want to be doing when I'm 80? I want to be a Jim Stevenson, working hard and serving people with all my strength, whatever it is. And I hope this week that you find an opportunity to love people and to love God as if you were serving them. Love the Lord your God with all your strength. I hope this week you get an opportunity to experience that gut love of Jesus Christ. That you get an opportunity to pause your way of viewing the world and you just pull the glasses off and say, God, how do you see this? I hope that you remember that life is for eternity. And finally, surrender your strength to him. Give him all of your strength. As we close, I want you to stand with me one more time. We're going to read the Shema together. This summary that Jesus said is the ultimate summary. Here we go. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Guys, don't walk out and forget it. This is important. Remember to experience him and find him this week. You're dismissed.